Cowboys chit chat. Grab your popcorn, sit tight, we're ready to roll. In the heart of Sacktown, we're feeding your soul. In the King's Court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star. With the NFL, Adams in the ring. Rhino's got the wisdom, hear the praises we sing. Court in session, it's a royal affair. With the fans all around, feel the passion in the air. In the King's Court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star.
Holy bleep. I was planning to talk a little bit of football today. I was not planning to talk about a Micah Parsons trade. There's so much meat on that bone. Dallas, if you showed up when Luka Doncic was traded and you're bringing boxes, and by boxes, I mean caskets to the arena, now that Micah in the same year is gone, has a fan base had a worst year? Two future Hall of Famers traded because Jerry Jones doesn't know how to do business anymore, because Jerry Jones wanted to do things his way and play a game with somebody that finally stood up to him and said, I ain't playing your game. Quote unquote, the Cowboy way. Screw the Cowboy way. Not only is he traded, he's traded within the same conference. And what about the NFC North? Holy crap, there's a lot to go through. What's up? First King's Court. Yeah, that's for you, Jared. First King's Court since we wrapped up the daily. I told you I would do live shows once a week. So I am here. Welcome in. Hope you are doing well.
Order in the court.
Is in session. We are in the new studio, the permanent new digs of the King's Court. Hope you like them. You know, going for that Ron Burgundy look. Very classy, mahogany, leather, the finest wood, brick. Anyways, just playing with you. What's everybody been doing? This show's really only going out to YouTube right now, so not expecting a ton of numbers, but either way, wanted to come in, say hi, let you know that we are grinding away. We are only 4 days away from the debut, the re-debut of Grant being back in Sac. What a week it has been already. Grant's been in town for a couple of days. It's been incredible. Studios are beautiful. If you've been following the socials, especially Fox Sports, Sacramento, KSAC, 104.7, 890 AM. If you've been following them, you've seen some behind-the-scenes stuff. That will increase as we get closer to Tuesday, September 2nd. Mark your calendars, 3 o'clock, 3 to 6 o'clock, Monday through Friday. It's go time. Grant's back to win. Let me tell you, his sleeves are beyond his freaking neck. I don't know that he even has sleeves on his shirt left. And it's not because he wore a t-shirt. I think he ripped them off. That's how pumped he is. We're brought to you also today by Bennett's Westside Grill in Rockland. Pay attention, 3 Bennett's. If you looked at X yesterday and you saw Grant's post, we had a wonderful lunch at Bennett's, and check out the food. I put a picture of my shrimp cocktail up. Oh my gosh, to die for. So go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com, 3 locations here in the greater Sacramento. We'll talk to you a little bit more about them as the show goes along, my man Connor. But I missed y'all. Hopefully you've been able to catch the audio version. I have not put one out every single day. My apologies for that. It has been extremely busy learning new things, and just so excited to do whatever I can to get this thing off the ground and assist Grant in any way possible. Mark, if the Packers are good, those number ones are probably number 20 or higher. Do you think Dallas is going to get a Micah Parsons out of either one of those ones? I mean, unlikely, possible. Do you think they'll get a Micah Parsons out of both of those ones combined? With Jerry and Stephen Jones running the show, I don't know. The way that this whole thing got to where it got is just bizarre because Micah was willing to play ball. Micah wasn't asking to be paid massive in terms of, yeah, for sure, Grant's back. We like that hashtag. We're going to start pushing that around. Micah wasn't looking to be the highest paid player in the league. He even was like, all right, I understand. I'll take a back seat. Dak got paid the first Sunday of the season last year before they start. That was a weird one, right? That's where Jerry and the Cowboys, they've just got to be relevant. They've got to have their nose in the media, whether it's for good media or bad media. They've had this docu-series come out. Some of the stuff that Jerry has said, I'm not even talking about the funny stuff like Los Angeles or even on my schedule. The stuff that him and Steven said over this training camp period has been so bizarre, so asinine. It makes you wonder if Jerry is like really all there. Like, what's going on?
We're in California. San Francisco 49er gold rush. There was more value than hitting that gold strike in San Francisco on this field today out here.
Well, if Micah was on that field, maybe I'd argue with you. He was not saying that like they're coming to the table. So here's Jerry. Here's Jerry about a couple weeks ago.
Nothing would be that. And we might or might not talk. And the rest of that gets in what we do every day.
Even though he is under contract, are you guys comfortable if you don't get a deal done that he'll be ready to go for Philly?
Well, again, all you got to go on are contracts.
Uh-oh.
And we are negotiating for a contract. Well, when you do a contract, you would hope that after a negotiation, that's what both the team and the player look to see what our obligations are. And so I have a lot of respect for a contract.
All right, just listening in there, Jerry Jones.
It's a good shirt, Rock. Glad you got one too. They're comfortable. I love this shirt. It is the second most comfortable shirt next to the Traeger shirt. Almost wore that today. For Peter. John Finch, I saw you in the chat. How you feeling about this, man? I got to think this is what has been playing in John's head.
That don't make no sense.
Over and over. Almost as soon as the trade was announced by Adam Schefter, Micah had already released a thank you letter, a goodbye letter to Dallas. Man, I just wonder what the direction of that team's going to look like. And as a Dallas sports fan, Cowboy fan, and John, help me out with this. I have asked you this so many times. It's how do you still embrace that team, fill Jerry's world when Jerry continually, as of late, has been making awful decisions? I mean, you've had some decent years of football, and then the wheels fall off the wagon when it comes to the playoffs. And to see the way that this all transpired, it's just, I would have almost make an argument it is worse than the Luka trade. You know what this was for Cowboys fan? This was ripping off the Band-Aid as slow as possible. And it's ripping off the Band-Aid knowing that there is a massive cut still under that Band-Aid. and you shouldn't be ripping it off. At least with Luka, it was boom, gone. Dead of the night. Luka's gone. You didn't hear anything leading up to that. Man, it is insane that we are saying it's not so much that Mike is traded. I was kind of in the camp that they would get it done. But to Green Bay, and Green Bay, I haven't even addressed Green Bay fan. What a pickup. Assuming Mike is healthy, he's already signed an extension, reportedly. For that division, the NFC North, that is exactly what Green Bay needed. Now you got to make sure that Jordan Love's thumb is healing fine and he'll be ready to go. But, I mean, Cowboy fan, you got to think this is a Dallas sports fan. You got to think. It was all a dream. This is a dream. This isn't happening. It was interesting because last night, and I'm going to get to some more of your comments as well, Adam Schefter went on the ESPN Milwaukee affiliate, and he was asked about the status of Micah Parsons and could the Packers possibly be players?
I think that they would love to be interested. I think they're monitoring things. I think that they probably checked in on Trey Hendrickson just to see what it was, would be my guess. And I could see that. Now, the whole question is, there's interest across the league in Micah, but I don't think anybody feels right now like Dallas is going to realistically trade him. That's the bigger issue, is that people don't feel like Dallas is going to make a move. Now, we'll see if that changes or not.
Adam, did you hear anything more about the meeting with Schottenheimer? Because from what I read, it sounded like it went fairly well. They're talking about having to ramp him up for the start of the season because he missed so much camp. You hear anything more? I mean, because that sounded like fairly friendly meeting.
Well, I think it was an hour-long meeting, which tells you that clearly there were some issues at work, right? And after that meeting, basically Brian Schottenheimer said he was not given any assurances that Micah Parsons would be able to play in the opener.
Oh, so Micah can't play in the opener. We better get off of him right now. Better trade him. Better get off of him. Unreal. Yeah, I am really tired, Richard, of this Westbrook stuff. And that's why I titled the image the way I did. It's like not so much about Westbrook coming in and way more about losing Malik Monk to me. Trying to connect those dots. And if you listen to the podcast that I released, thank you, by the way. If some of you, I saw, I think 60 or 70 had checked that episode out. I kind of go through the formula of what I think Scott Perry has been thinking, working through the options. And then you get to this endpoint where it's still talk about Westbrook. And I stand by what I've said the entire time, that I think that it would be a secondary move. It's not going to be a first move. It's going to be a secondary move. And in that podcast, I run down, what are your options in getting rid? Let's go. Screw Dallas. All right, Manny. I see you. There's lots of fans doing that as well. But back to the Kings, if you're going to get off a guard, who are you going to get off? Especially if you have already taken Keon out of the picture. I don't think Devin Carter on his own is worth a lot. I mean, if teams don't want Malik Monk, maybe because of the money. And this is the other question that I raise. I understand it's part of the business. Many do, unless you're Dennis Schroeder. If you're Dennis Schroeder, then you're beating to your own drum when it comes to how the NBA operates. But you're going to have Malik Monk, Keon Ellis, not so much Keegan Murray, DeMar DeRozan, Devin Carter, all rolling into camp knowing that the Kings tried to get off them. And I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but I will play devil's advocate and say it started to wear on Kevin Herter. It's worn on other guys in the past. So I think they'll be able to get through that, but it's just a really weird situation. In fact, there was another report today on Hoops Hype that the Kings' odds of signing Westbrook go up if and when they're fully out on Kuminga. Didn't that ship sail? Hasn't Golden State already said they don't want, or Steve Kerr doesn't want Kuminga, but the ownership does? He's going to be there. Golden State, what has changed? That would be my question. What the heck has changed between the Kings' offer 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and now? I really don't think that offer has started looking any better to Golden State. They don't want Monk. They don't want DeRozan. And that's it. Close up business. You think they're going to change their mind now? I don't think so. But the Sacramento Kings, who have been the most serious suitors in a sign-and-trade scenario, have been resisting the urge to make other smaller moves all summer long because the Kuminga pursuit was a bigger priority. More specifically, the odds of Russell Westbrook signing go up if they know they're completely out. Wait, let me make sure I read that right. More specifically, the odds of a Russell Westbrook signing go up if they're significantly, they're completely out on Kuminga. See, now that makes less sense to me. In parentheses, though they aren't expected to make that move unless they can make room in the rotation by trading a guard. It's the same report. You can get in the same report every single day. Russ was playing hoops on a yacht. I didn't see Rio City Cafe anywhere near that yacht. Don't think he was on the Sacramento River. I just don't see it. Go listen to the podcast I dropped earlier this week if you want to dive into that. If you want to dive into that in a way that you're not being beat over the head with the same information, I think I took a nice, different approach to it and kind of likened it to solving a long-form math equation where you have to show your work. I think it'll make a little more sense then. And maybe that can help you drop it and tell a friend to listen. It might help them drop it as well. As I said at the beginning, I was expecting to make a football announcement. It just wasn't going to be about Micah Parsons, but that's what happens. I love when news breaks. I will tell you this. Here's my announcement. The Pro Football Pick'em League is back for the third season on Yahoo. Go sign up. Jay Griffiths is going to be donating a $100 gift card to the winner. He's done that every single year. In fact, we had 2 gift cards last year. So completely free. A couple of changes this season. We are not going to pick into the playoffs. We are only going to do regular season. It's fair. It's fun. Grant will be picking. I will be picking. We pick against the spread. In fact, I might let Liam join the league so he can make his own picks because he's going to be picking against Haunted Horse, who knows nothing about, my son who knows nothing about football. He's picking against Haunted Horse. It's against the spread. It's a good time. Last year, I want to say we had 60 to 70 players. So a lot of you have been hitting me up behind the scenes about this. So Jay, thank you for reminding me today. So the league is up. It is live. Hey, some of you will remember this. Many of you won't. This league started with me writing down people's picks from Grant's Listen App show. I was manually running the league. I didn't think there was something out there that was doing that at that time. And I don't think we weren't going against the spread. It was just Jay, were we going against the spread? We were. Actually, we were. And it was the spread on Thursday because the picks were always, I believe, on Thursday. So here's the information. If you want to hop in the league, would love to have you in there. It is a good time. All you got to do, go to Yahoo Fantasy. Make sure you choose existing league. It's the Pro Football Pick'em League. It's not regular fantasy football, although we could probably talk about that as well. I've got a draft coming up. I'm not sure if any of you have drafted already, but there's your group ID, the password. So our script here, it's all capitalized. The only thing that's capitalized in Grant is back as the password is the G in Grant. So uppercase G, everything else is not capitalized. That will get you in the league and get you qualified to get bragging rights, number one, because we'll check in on that throughout the season on this platform and get you a nice little gift card. Make sure you tell Jay, thank you very much for that. So it is the fourth season. You know what, Peter? I was waffling back and forth. I'm like, have we been on Yahoo for 3? And the first was when I was writing down the picks. You're right, Peter. It's the fourth season. Great job by you. Very, very, very good job by you. Also, by the way, we are going to continue pumping out content here, whether it is podcast form, whether it's right here on If You Don't Like That. You don't just get the King's Court today, you get Napes as well. 7 o'clock tonight. Join him. He is back in Sacramento as we speak, working away, taking meetings, and we're tuning up everything. So it comes off great on the 2nd. We are so excited about that. If you don't know what we're talking about, it is the move to Fox Sports Sacramento. That's the key. Fox Sports Sacramento, KSAC 104.7, 890 AM. Also, download the app. I said that before. You can find it in the Apple Store, Google Play, wherever you download your applications. And we are going to be getting on TuneIn as well. So that is going to be available before the show launches. So if you're one of those Tesla drivers that doesn't have AM radio, use the Fox Sports app first. But if for whatever reason you're out of town and you're out of the area, you'll be able to find it on TuneIn as well. So can't wait to launch on Tuesday as we roll into, this is our last Thursday without the NFL. We will have NFL for the next, oh my gosh, all the way through the new year. Super pumped up about that. Super pumped up. So join the Pick'em League. It is a lot of fun. See if you can beat Grant. Grant actually did pretty good last year. Not going to lie. Hopefully Grant talks about the trade and rips Jerry. Yeah, I'm sure Grant's going to talk about the trade. Absolutely. I'm sure of it. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm looking at this list that we put up from Adam Schefter. If I'm looking at this list and I see CeeDee Lamb on this list, I'm sorry. Micah Parsons is more important than CeeDee Lamb. I'm not saying CeeDee Lamb's not important, but I think Micah is more important than CeeDee Lamb. Tell me if I'm wrong. I understand the contracts were signed at different times, but the North, man, in Green Bay, I'm undercover, always rooting for Green Bay. I've got a lot of friends that are out in Wisconsin. I've been to Green Bay. I went last summer. It's an incredible football town. So I root for them silently, and that fan base right now, although not massive in Green Bay, Wisconsin proper, I guarantee you all the places are popping off right now. To get a generational talent, best defender in football in the prime of his career. 2 first-round picks. Incredible. So congratulations. In fact, this was, I'll play this for you really quick. This was Dallas's initial reaction to Micah being traded. Listen to how this guy bumps in.
Some of the biggest breaking news you will ever hear. The Cowboys are trading All-Pro Micah Parsons to the Packers, and they've agreed to a 4-year, $188 million deal done by David Mulligetta of Athletes First, including $136 million guaranteed. That's per Rap, Tom Pelissero, and Slater, who's joining us coming up in 56 minutes. $47 million per year, Parsons' highest paid non-quarterback in history. He nets 2 first-rounders for the Dallas Cowboys. Instant reaction, guys. How you feel about this trade?
Micah got everything he wanted. $188 million extension, $136 million guaranteed, and it's 4 years. He's getting $47 million APY. Now, what is the Cowboys' return? Quite frankly, this is going to be a day that is remembered in Cowboys history forever. I don't give a damn about Micah Parsons. He's the enemy now. Week 4 just became the biggest game in the NFL season. Packers at Cowboys, AT&T Stadium.
Revenge
You'll hear
game.
it right here.
How cocky. It's false cockiness that just drips down from the top, from Jerry Jones. That's the Jerry Jones attitude. I don't give a crap about Micah Parsons anymore. Wow. You set up the NFC North to just ping pong possibly between teams and NFC finals and playoffs. I just, come on, man. What's up, Paul? Let's see how he keeps going at this.
On your home of Dallas Cowboys football, 105.3 The Fan. But what did the Cowboys get? Is it just the 2 ones? Is there a player that we don't know about yet? And I think I would have tried to push this thing for more, but the Cowboys clearly were saying, screw this. We want to get rid of this guy. This isn't going to work for us. I am just blown away and stunned that they actually did this. I did not think we would live in a world where Jerry and Steven would move a player of the status of a Micah Parsons. And I would like to applaud them for doing so.
Yes, I'll join
because
you in
I
that
think
applause.
big picture,
Yeah.
this is great for the organization.
I agree with you.
Okay. Are the Cowboys going into rebuild mode? With Dak and CD making all that money? Last time I checked, Dallas is not exactly an offensive team, not exactly a defensive team, but when Dallas has been decent, they've been a good defense led by Micah Parsons. So Cowboys fans, man, the Kool-Aid that you drink, what's that syndrome called? Is it Stockholm syndrome? When you just start falling into place and think things are normal. Applauding that pick. Let's check in with Cowboys fan. Cowboy fan, how do you feel?
Bring him back. He's not back. Bring him back. He's not back. Bring him back.
I don't know. I think that guy is going to be in the minority. That host and Jera, man. Don't get it twisted. Micah got rid of the Cowboys. I don't think the Cowboys got rid of Micah. I'm sorry. Convince me otherwise. I don't think you can. Mark, Cowboys fans are blindly loyal. Wear the company t-shirt. Got to wear the company t-shirt. It is very, very comfy and a good look. Let's see, Mark, why does it always sound like he's drunk? Jarrett, you don't know. And actually transitioning perfectly, very sad story that came out. Jim Irsay, the late Colts owner, who recently passed away. If you don't remember some of his battles that he's had, and a very respected owner around the league despite that, but he was arrested a long time ago with a lot of medication, a lot of narcotics, and it's a story that we all are all too familiar with. We all know somebody that's fought that battle, and Jim was able to go to treatment, get clean, but according to the reports, he had suffered a relapse that not many people had known about, and unfortunately, prescription drugs played a significant role in his passing. So that has been announced as well. That stinks. Scary stuff. Scary stuff. So hate to bring up a downer, but gotta say the news. You gotta bring in the news. Is that the best conference in football? It was last year, minus the Bears. Some people really, really like what's going on in Chicago with their quarterback this preseason. Some still not sold on Caleb Williams. He's got some targets on the outside. Minnesota, J.J. McCarthy, question marks there. A lot of talk about him having a great camp. He was kind of slotted in. He was unofficially scribbled in as one of those guys that would probably take the job, if not take over the job. And then he tore a meniscus. It feels like it was more than a meniscus to miss the entire season, which Sam Darnold steps in, has a season of his life, which makes me really quickly transition to the Seattle Seahawks. I heard Grant say he thinks the Seahawks will win the division here in the West. I'm not sold, and this is coming from Seahawk guy. I'm sold on the defense. I think the defense will be solid, but I'm not sold on Darnold. I need to see that was not a system thing with Kevin O'Connell. Those two very close, knew each other before the NFL, both Southern California guys. In fact, Kevin coached Sam in camps when Sam was coming up through high school and college. I feel like that offense was really tailor-made for Sam Darnold. And with Seattle having a defensive coach, now you don't have DK Metcalf on the outside anymore. He's now in Pittsburgh. I'm just not sure. I'm not sold on the offense. And if you're going to be asking Sam Darnold to do a lot, I don't think that's a good formula. It didn't work out in New York. Not saying that they didn't lean on him last year in Minnesota. He had a fabulous season. But he wasn't being leaned on the same way that a Joe Burrow is leaned on. So back to the NFC North, J.J. McCarthy steps in. Is that going to change anything for the explosive Minnesota offense? They get Adam Thielen back in the fold of things as well. And then Green Bay, Jordan Love, can he have that next step? Is that thumb going to be okay? And then Dan Campbell, the Lions. Doesn't it kind of feel like for some of these teams, this is the year? It's definitely not Chicago. That seat's not crazy hot. That seat just got filled with the offensive coordinator, last year's offensive coordinator in sorry to pause for a second, in Detroit. But I think Green Bay, fine. But back to the Lions. Although you're down a coordinator, I think this has to be the year for them. Not saying it will be the year. I think this has to be the year for the Lions. Or at least you've got to get to a Super Bowl. So who does everybody have going to the Super Bowl? Where are you at on that? Curious. NFL kicking off a week from today. Mark Darnold will definitely throw a couple of games away. It's all about what you got to ask him to do. Niners coming to take Sammy's lunch. Manny, I am just really confused with Kyle Shanahan. You're down running backs. You've had a ton of injuries. You get Guerrero back, and you have him in punt coverage in the final preseason game, coming off of a shoulder injury. You're going to send him out to tackle people off of a shoulder injury in the third preseason game. Why? What happens? He's kind of favoring that shoulder after a play. Like Shanahan, and I know that you got another running back. I just don't. I think that seat's hot. I'm sorry if the Niners don't do well, and I don't have high hopes for the Niners. Another team that's going to be defensive. I think it's time for something different in San Francisco. I think Kyle Shanahan is going to slowly work his way into that Jim Harbaugh category where, there's a shelf life. There's an expiration date just based upon how they run their programs. Eventually, they start to stubbornness, little idiosyncrasies with the staff that they don't like, that the players don't like. I just think it kind of wears on you. It does. But I do think that defense is going to be the sticking point in the West. Seattle, it's got to be defense. San Francisco, it has to be defense. And it's really interesting when you look at the NFL schedule this year. You have so many divisional games. Week 1. I can't remember the last time a season kicked off with San Francisco and Seattle. And you see many of those same games across the league to kick the NFL off. And a lot of teams have been playing their starters in preseason. They've wanted to get them reps. I understand why the Bengals did it, but it makes me wonder if the schedule did not have a little more to do with it. Because usually week 1, week 2, when guys don't play in the preseason, it's basically the preseason. So who do you got going to the Super Bowl? I also think the seat in Buffalo is pretty hot. 49ers are in trouble with their wide receivers. They really are at this point. I have doubts about Ricky Pearsall being able to stay healthy for a full season. And that's not taking into account anything that happened with the gunshot. That's just, even through camp last year, he was having some soft tissue issues. Peter, thanks for putting that back out there. Make sure that you give Jay Griffiths a big shout out as well. Donating $100 gift card to the winner. Free to sign up. Picking against the spread. Grant and I will be picking, so you'll be in the league with us as well. How's everybody feel about Cincinnati? I know their defense can't stop a nosebleed. I get that, but their offense is just so good. Joe Burrow, it's kind of the reverse of Brock Purdy. When everybody said you've got all those guys and they're making you look better, in Joe Burrow's case, he is a top tier. Like, if the NFL draft, if you redrafted quarterbacks again, I'm not so sure. He's not going 1. That's Mahomes. I think Joe Burrow, I think it's probably, and tell me if you disagree, and Jaden Daniels, I love him. I want to see more. I do think he's the real deal. But I probably think it goes Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and then Daniels. Let's see. Rhino, what's the link to the NFL spread on Yahoo? You have to go to Yahoo Fantasy. I don't have a link to send you there. But if you go to Yahoo Fantasy football and put in football pick'em. It'll be one of the drop down options that you can choose. You enter what's on the screen right there that Peter put up. I'll put it up again. Let's see. I'll put it up this way. All you got to do is enter this information, and you'll be able to enter the league for free. There you go. There's your group ID. Password is Grant is back. The G in Grant is the only thing that is capitalized. So there you go. Grant is back. There's your league ID. Peter also has it in the chat. In fact, Peter, when I find your message again, I am going to put that up. There we go. We will put that up as a pinned chat so you can go to the top and see it. Cowboys are so screwed. I guess that's the question. What's the plan? Are you gonna? I don't know off the top of my head what Dak has left on his contract. He just re-signed last year, so he's basically in a new deal. CeeDee Lamb, basically in a new deal, only 1 year into it. Those are some big numbers. Those are some big. I just don't see what is Dallas now that you don't have Micah Parsons this year. What's Dallas's strength? Micah Parsons is now gone. What is the thing that can beat you every single game? I can't say that that's Zach or Dak Prescott. I can't. I think he's a good regular season quarterback. But he's had at times a very good defense around him. Dallas is going to throw they're going to have to. Will Giddey get signed? Yeah, he'll get signed. They'll get it done as you get closer. I mean, remember, we're now starting to get closer and closer since we're at the end of August to people getting back in the buildings in terms of the NBA executives. This was the next 3 weeks will be fun to watch because Shams, I think we played it on this show. Shams thought this would be the craziest offseason of all time in terms of free agency. It really hasn't been too crazy, to be honest with you. So I gotta think with Giannis and the FIBA tournament going on right now, Giannis still kind of going back and forth. Is he gonna stay in Milwaukee? Hasn't given them a solid commitment, depending on what you're reading, yet seems like he was heavily involved in most of the transactions to get to where they're at now. I think teams are waiting to see if there is ultimately a decision on Giannis. And if there is, then you might see some teams go to a plan B. But there's some Golden State. What have they done to improve? The Clippers have improved. Well, the Clippers changed things up. Minnesota, they're going to lean on some younger guys this year off of the bench. I really think Denver had the best offseason in terms of the West. I think Denver they had 3 guys hurt and took the champs to 7 games. That's pretty impressive. But it'll get done. Giddey could be Golden State might be looking at that as well. There's been no formal talks that I've heard, and I know that Hoops Hypes and some other sources have been kind of tuning in. Nothing directly Kuminga for Giddey, but if Golden State could get Giddey for Kuminga, I think that would be an interesting trade. And also, you got to look at Kobe White. I don't think he's been extended. I think Kobe White, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Kobe White's going into his contract year. So we we'll see as we inch closer and closer. What I'm saying is, if something's going to happen in the NBA with some of these names, the restricted four that we put up many times on this show, it's going to happen before September, probably before September 26th, 27th, probably around then, because usually media day is one of the last days of September, which is kind of the first day of training camp, but the first day or the next day where the guys are officially on the floor is the day after media day, where training camp formally on the court begins. So I know Julius Randle and Cat came fairly late last year. I think you'll still have another couple moves. I don't think that it'll be Giannis, but I think you'll have some of these things resolved. I mean, teams are going to have to fill up some of their rosters. Some of them are fairly low on players. I think the Kings need more toughness. Do you remember? Yeah. That was a tough one. Tay, off the top of my head, I believe Orlando was the first game back after a long road trip. Orlando, to me, is the team to watch in the East. And one problem they've had is health. Health has been their issue. But if they can stay healthy, now that you have Desmond Bane, who absolutely fits into their system perfectly with the toughness, with the defense, I think Orlando, if you were going to throw a big, like if you said, you know what, I'll throw $100 on an Eastern Conference team for a futures bet. If I had $100 to put on a futures bet to win the Eastern Conference, my $100 would be going on Orlando. I think they are going to be not, you can't call them a surprise, but they are just so tough defensively. And now that you polish up the offense, I just really like Orlando a lot. I guess, Tay, what I'm saying is there's not a lot of Orlandos out there in terms of the way that they play. I would put Orlando in the same category that I put the Knicks. I would put them in the same category. Honestly, I have to say the Pacers, the way they defended at times throughout the playoffs and the finals, that handful of teams, and that's what made the Pacers so kind of special, because they would muck it up with you defensively, but they still, when they played at their best, they were playing a really fast style, getting up tempo, getting 10, 12 more shots than the opponent. There's anybody else? Who am I leaving out? I would say New Orleans. When New Orleans is healthy, they like to play that way as well too. Even when the Kings went to New Orleans the first time last season, where you had lost 6 in a row, the Pelicans playing with a ton of guys that you had never heard of, some of them right from the G League. One of them signed, I believe, that day, almost beat the Kings, and it was a super physical game. So it's a small group. Those are the teams that immediately come to my head when I think about that Orlando style. Oklahoma City, absolutely. That goes without saying. I'm sorry for not saying them first. It was just a given. It takes a special group. And the way that you get a group to play that style, one, they have to want to play that style. But two, they have to accept, embrace, and love their roles. Orlando does that for the most part. They do. Shooting, offense has been their deficit. And here's the other thing too. You have a balanced team. You have guys playing in position. You're putting guys in positions that are their strengths instead of their weaknesses. So it's puzzle pieces. Again, I've said for a really long time, if you were to hold an NBA draft and you let one team draft the first 12 players, they would not be the 12 best players in the league. In fact, I would say the Kings have a little bit of that syndrome going on right now, where you've got an all-star in Sabonis, you've got an all-star in Levine, you have a future first ballot Hall of Famer in DeMar DeRozan. It's not uncommon to have 3 of those guys on the team, and hopefully those 3 guys do different things. With DeMar and Zach, I would say that they are, in considering the difference in age too, I think DeMar and Zach kind of play a little bit of a similar style at times. Domas, completely different style. But then all around you, you've only got 2 core pieces, in my opinion. I'd throw in Malik Monk, but if we're talking about, yeah, you know what? I got to take Monk out of that. If we're talking about guys that can go both ways, that don't need the basketball to be effective on the other side of the court, you've got 2 of those pieces with Keon Ellis and Keegan Murray. And then you've just got a lot of other guys that you're asking to play different roles. We're excited to see what Neek's going to do. I'm excited to see what that grows into with Neek. I think Neek, it's funny because you are seeing this shift now where coaches are looking to get their point guards to be bigger. They want their point guards to be 6'8", 6'9", 6'10". I mean, LeBron Jerry Reynolds famously says he can play every single position. He's done that throughout his career. You've heard Jason Kidd talk about Cooper Flagg running some point while Kyrie Irving is out. Giannis likely will be running the point in Milwaukee. So I wonder, that's one trend that I'm keeping my eye on. And I draw that back to Neek Clifford because Scott Perry has kind of tiptoed and given you some of those crumbs that are saying, I think this is a guy that might be able to handle the ball for this team. Not immediately, but might be able to, or at least be able to bring it up and not have it affect the flow of the offense. And unfortunately, the last 20 games of the season, including the play-in game, that was the Kings had many Achilles heels. But to me, for a team like the Kings that wanted to play fast, that wanted to get to the corners, that was their Achilles heel. You didn't have guys that were comfortable handling the basketball. You weren't even able to get into the spots on the floor to play the Doug Christie style, where it's not teaching you a play, it's teaching you how to play. Because by the time the ball got across half court, somebody's either pounding it and picking it up in a bad spot, like the corners, etc. It just became very fragmented, and teams picked up on it. Teams started pressuring the Kings, as I would have as well. So that's where Neek might play in. I've been on the record. I think Neek is going to be a guy that forces his way into 20 to 25 minutes a night. Jerry has agreed with me on this. You're going to have, if the Kings are having a successful season, that's going to mean that either Schroeder, DeMar, or Levine are not happy about the amount of minutes they're getting. Somebody's going to have to take a back seat. So the Kings they have players. They're just not players that go particularly well together with the core or the star of your teams. You're kind of split in the middle because, I got a couple of defensive guys that are really good. And that's why the Jake LaRavia thing, the Jake LaRavia thing, that changed the formula. I think that is, if we go back and even if we went back all the way to the Beam team, and it's where did things start to maybe come off the rails? And most people say, well, the Kings ran it back. They didn't improve. Okay. And so you dig deeper into that, and it's well, what could they have done with that money? Yeah, they bring back Harrison Barnes. Oh, did they have to extend Sabonis then? Did they? And I know the Kings could only pay LaRavia a certain amount or offer a certain amount right out of the gate. But if you were able to re-sign Jake LaRavia, that would have given Doug Christie a completely different hand to play. That's where now Devin Carter, you're not putting a spotlight on his ability to run the point guard. The spotlight's on his ability to defend. You know, Keegan Murray, and I get that these lists are kind of, I talked about it on the podcast. These lists are kind of the summer thing, and I don't do a ton of them. But The Athletic was going through all of the different forwards in the NBA. And there was a nuance to the way that they ranked them because they put them into categories. Keegan Murray was not a top 40 forward in the NBA, but Jake LaRavia was. Jake LaRavia was 34. That's crazy to me. Very crazy to me. So, let's see. As we are doing a live Kings Court, we're going to do one of these once a week. As I said, we announced that we are bringing back the Pick'em League, the information. Big thanks to Jay for that. The information is at the top of the chat. We've got it pinned there. Peter put that in. Don't forget, Napes is going to be with you tonight. 7 o'clock right here on If You Don't Like That. If you notice, the show is not streaming to his X account right now. We're going to get that all figured out. It's streaming to mine, so make sure you spread the word. Come to YouTube if you want to join Grant tonight. I'm sure he's going to have plenty to talk about with Micah Parsons and Dallas and the decision-making there, how Dallas went wrong, what this does for the counterbalance or the balance of the NFC. Again, why would you not send him to the other side? You got to send him to the AFC or hold on to him. It's just nuts. And if Jerry really did, let's think about this for a second. There's something loose up here. And Jerry Jones always has done things his own way. But if it was a targeted thing to drive a guy out of town, like Micah Parsons, now you've really got a problem. Obviously, the Dallas fans are drinking the Kool-Aid when it comes to that, or at least some of the Dallas media. I don't know. I just don't know how you let that guy go. You know what that is? That's like, you know what it is? It's like that notice before you get everything. What's up, Matthew? Thanks, brother. Yeah. Changed. That was part of the thing. I wanted to get my studio moved. So we've got a different background now. If you didn't notice. Oh, that's not the one I wanted to expand. Let's expand this one. Oh, well, it won't let me. Never mind. Got a little bit of a different background. But back to Micah. I just... Yeah, that was rough. I know. I'm going to keep getting to Micah. Yeah. You know what was hard about that, Jay? I think what was hard about that was you had just lost Jake. Right? Which one dropped first? Was it Jake or Sarge? I'm pretty sure it was Jake. Scott Perry was looking to cut money. I just don't know if that was the right spot to cut money. Valanciunas is just a great guy. It's Jerry's ego making dumb decisions. Is it fair to ask the question, Does Jerry Jones really want to win? Does he? Like before, and maybe some of you, I'm gonna be the old man here. But before all the smartphones and your bank and your insurance companies sending you electronic statements and all that, before that, that stuff came in the mail. You used to get your insurance declarations, you'd get your insurance cards, whatever. But before that, you would get notice after notice after notice reminding you that your policy expires on a certain date if you don't pay it. They send those for months in advance. And the reason I'm bringing that up is I'm likening it to the Micah Parsons thing. It's like Jerry passed up all these opportunities. Micah wanted to be in Dallas to get this thing done, and then he went around when this thing started to go sideways. He tried to turn it back in his favor and do it under the table without Micah's agent in on the situations. And eventually Jerry did not pay his insurance, his homeowners on Jerry World. Well, guess what happened? Jerry's World caught on fire. Oh, it's all right. We have insurance. Actually, you don't. You forgot to renew it. Even though we sent you 10 notices. Like, you start getting the renewal notices almost as soon as you pay for that year's premium. It's like a lapse in freaking insurance. So, like, that's why I say, does Jerry even want to win? If you want to win, you've taken care of Micah Parsons long before this. And you don't. I felt like they treated Micah like an imbecile in the media. Not the media treating him that way. Jerry and Stephen Jones. Oh, well, Micah's the one that's got to come to the table. Oh, that's up to Micah. And then in the last couple days, you've heard that maybe they're getting closer on a number. I almost felt like they insulted Micah out of Dallas. Like, there was a point where Micah's like, you know what? I don't care. Just like he said on the front end that I don't care about having the biggest paycheck in the NFL. I'm willing to take a little bit of a cut. I just want to be taken care of. You know what that turned into the back end? I just want out of Dallas. Don't let Jerry Jones and the Cowboys sell you that this was the Cowboys. This was Micah Parsons. He was done with the games. And can you blame him? Done with the games to the point he would take less money to go somewhere else. But what ends up happening? He gets more money because he's worth more money. The Green Bay freaking Packers, of all teams, that are publicly owned, small market, are paying Micah the most money out of any non-quarterback in the NFL. Nuts. I hope so, Guerrero. I hope so. Check out my podcast that I dropped a couple days ago on the situation. I think the question to me also is, are these guys going to have a chip on their shoulder? Because wasn't this going to be the offseason that we're going to pull it together? We're going to get the communication better. We're going to have a chain of command. We're going to have these 6 principles that everybody plays by, character guys. You know, us in the front office, we are going to exhibit those 6 principles. And I see both sides of the fence there, because there are some tough decisions that need to be made with this Kings team, but there's a right way about going about those decisions. And I'm not saying Scott Perry didn't do it the right way, but you almost had a carousel of Kings. Do you think Domantas Sabonis enjoyed hearing that Valanciunas was traded? I highly doubt it. Now, I know that he really liked Max being drafted. I like Max too. Max needs time. Max will be good for a win or two this season, where he has one of those Devin Carter nights where he's on fire and he's making the right play. It's the right defensive matchup. It's a team that's not very powerful. He'll be good for a win or two. I look at Max as I look at kind of a Sasha Vezenkov, completely different players, but the way that they're going to be used, in my opinion, is going to be very similar, just because of the defensive side of the basketball. Max needs to fill out a little bit. You put Max on the Keegan Murray training plan, you're going to have something in a couple of years. Not saying you're going to have a star, not saying that you are going to have a championship team, but you're going to probably have a solid player. He's coming in older than a lot of the other guys. Same thing goes with Neek. And Neek, his body will transform, but his body is NBA ready right now. He's just kind of the Kings love the tweeners. Between Monty McNair's staff and now Scott Perry's staff, you're drafting these tweeners. You know, where does Neek fit in if he's truly a 3? He's undersized. I think the biggest question that I have about Neek Clifford is, what is the defensive side of the ball going to look like? Are teams going to attack him defensively? Monk, yeah, I'm with you. I don't see it happening. And I kind of go through all that in the podcast. If you want to go check that out, it's on Apple and Spotify right now. I think you are kind of you're basically setting back, in my opinion, your Keon Ellis's, your Devin Carter's, if you bring in Russ. Russ isn't going to be Doug McDermott. He's not going to be some of the other guys. Vince Carter is not going to be in Sacramento to be that role. If Russ is coming to Sacramento, Russ is going to be Russ. So, and then you get into, Russ and Dennis Schroeder, and I'm all for competition, for positions. I'm all for guys going at it at practice. But, those are two very, very strong personalities. Very strong personalities. I don't see it. Can't do it. You're losing. I just think if you're Scott Perry, and I don't want to keep going here, but if you're Scott Perry, take Malik Monk from this team. Where's the electricity off the bench? Where is it? You could maybe say Keon, but Keon's not nearly the scorer that Malik Monk is. Also, what about Domas? Malik Monk makes Domas better. Domas makes Monk better. They open up a entire different side of the offense with the pick and roll, which I will say, going back and watching film over the summer, the pick and roll was an issue the last half of the season, and a lot of it fell on Malik at times because he was getting a little bit too cute with it. The snake dribble, something that you do maybe once a game, maybe twice a game at the most. It's kind of the snake dribble. The best example I can give you, and I hope most of you know what I'm talking about, it's like a cutback in football where the hole's on the left side, and as soon as you get through it, you go back to the right. It's kind of that, where you're giving up the advantage off that pick and roll, and you're trying to get the defender on your back so you can either get a shot off and get fouled, etc. It's one of those niche things. It's one of those things you do like once or twice a game. He kind of made that a little bit more of a part of the pick and roll than I think it should have been. But then there was bad picks. There was just bad spacing. Monk is our spark starter. We don't need Russ. Let's stick with what we have. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And by the way, I think, no disrespect to Russell Westbrook, I've never been around Russell Westbrook. I only know what we've seen, what he said. The guy, in my opinion, only has played a role once in his career, and that was his last stop in Denver. And he did it really well. He embraced that role. Okay, I'll start. Okay, I'll come off the bench. I understand that I am going to complement the other guys. And I think that's why Russ looked as good as he did. And by the way, his body still looked good. He was still fairly explosive. But he's one of those guys that he thinks when he played with Kevin Durant, he still thought he was the one. And I get Schroeder and Russ have played together. Not saying that Russ isn't a leader, and I'm not even considering the run-ins with fans coming off the court, any of that. Some guys are fiery. I just don't see any world in which Malik Monk and what he brings to that locker room in terms of the good energy off the bench, behind the scenes, the leadership, sometimes being the mouthpiece for the team when the team doesn't want to speak up or somebody on the team doesn't want to speak up, bringing the guys down if they're too high, too low, bringing them up at the right times. I don't see any way that Russell Westbrook is going to bring that same value as Malik Monk. I just don't. So it makes, unless it's part of a bigger plan, it makes 0 sense. 0 cents at all. 0 cents. The triple-double eras. Yes, those were crazy. Those were, yeah. Sabonis kind of, would you say Sabonis kind of wrapped that one up with a bow 2 seasons ago? But yeah, nutty. What's up, Dorian? Are the King or Jerry Jones and Vivek one in the same? It seems like they want to win, but not at the expense of making a... No. I actually think it's a great question, Dorian. It really is, because Jerry's a businessman. If you watch the Cowboys documentary or docuseries on Netflix, he always said he was going to be an NFL owner, and everybody was telling him, no, you're not. He had a chance to get a team, didn't work out, and he gets the Cowboys. He was in the oil business, probably still is, to be honest with you. Jerry's about his money, but I'm not saying Vivek isn't. There's a reason those guys have the money that they have. Some of the most wealthy people I have been around have taught me some of the most valuable lessons about money in very just mindless situations that all of us have been in. I was we were on vacation, and at the time during college, the girl that I'd been dating for a while, her grandfather, he was a massive developer in Stockton, owned a couple houses and a restaurant in Santa Cruz, more money than generational money. And we're on his yacht in Seattle, and it's him, the girl's dad, and me, and we're playing poker. We're playing Hold'em with 3 people, and the game was only for $20, and I lose. I'm like, well, it's $20. Gene grabbed my arm so hard and he educated me on the value of $20. So both of them are going to be about their money. I think where the Venn diagram intersects, Dorian, is control. I don't think they can get out of their own ways. I think deep down, they both want to win, but they want to win their way and they want to have the control. There's no reason in this day and age that you are bringing a player into your office to talk about leadership and then start switching the conversation over to contracts and trying to get him to make a deal. If anybody knows that, it's Jerry Jones. At some point, I've got to think, if you read between the tea leaves, at some point, you got to think Jerry felt like he was disrespected in this process because he's so used to other players, other Cowboys in the past, giving in to his way, that maybe he was offended that Micah wouldn't talk numbers behind the scenes, which leads to them talking about Micah in the media, which I think at some point both of them felt disrespected, and Micah had, in my opinion, the much bigger case to do so. Micah was simply doing the right things. I mean, listen to some of these responses. This is Stephen Jones, his son.
Did you hear the fans yelling, "Pay Micah" yesterday? And what do you think when you hear that?
It doesn't change anything. I mean, we want to pay Micah too. He's got to want to be paid.
He's got to want to be paid. He got to want to be paid or got to want to be paid the way we want to do business. Here was Jerry.
Micah's got a bad back. That's like being traded.
He's asked about Micah Parsons. Micah's got, and I didn't splice that up, by the way. Micah's got a bad back. That's like being traded.
Micah's got a bad back. That's like being traded.
This was the last one. Check this one out.
Jerry, are you considering trading Micah Parsons?
Well, let's put it like this. Surely you guys have been around this stuff and know to recognize negotiation talk, that type of thing. And so that's where I put that.
So are you considering it?
I'm not. At this, the facts are that that's like anything else. I think the world of Micah, and that's just a part of negotiation.
Would you ever consider trading Micah?
Again, I don't really place that with any real seriousness. Micah's got a bad back. That's like being traded.
Did the request take you by surprise?
Y'all weigh it the same.
Jerry.
Nothing. Did anything make sense there? Nothing. I think, again, the crossover is giving up control. I think it's stubbornness. I don't know. Vivek is so young, so new into his ownership compared to many of the other owners in the NBA. If you go back and you watch the show that was on HBO It was on HBO, and it was about the Lakers. It's the Showtime Lakers. It was, and by the way, the guy that played Jerry West, incredible. And I know Jerry West did not like how he was portrayed, but it's like written in his book. Bless his soul, the logo. But the owners were, at the end of the day, they're in business together. So it's a competitive thing, but they're in it together. When you get relegated to one of those islands where you're not in it the same way, I gotta think, I've got to assume that causes some conflict, right? Revenue sharing, all that. People not wanting to do business with you. Maybe because they fear, because they know how to run an organization, they're weighing other things that you are not, that is a bad move for your organization, which means less money for your organization if the fans aren't buying the tickets and aren't buying the merch. In Jerry's case, he is in that group. No matter what happens in Dallas, that team is probably, last time we checked, I believe they were the most valuable it was the most valuable franchise that they estimated. The Yankees were up there. You see what teams are selling for now. Sometimes I wonder, this is pure speculation, if, Vivek thinks, and Jerry clearly thinks, he can do things a certain way. But he's so young into his ownership. I hope that there's time to change there. I don't know that there is. Maybe you know what somebody is when we always say we need 25 games to know, or at least be able to judge a team. Has Vivek met that threshold of time in his ownership? And if you judge the overall time as ownership, you did make the playoffs. You had 48 and 46 wins that you have to throw in there. I don't know. I think these next, however this retool plays out, I think that is when you're going to have a pretty clear idea. I think you are getting there, but in Jerry's case, this could Vivek Ranadive step up to a microphone? Honestly, well, first off, he rarely does. And I'm not criticizing him. There's a lot of other owners that rarely step up to the mic for good reasons and bad reasons. But tell me what other owner in professional sports could get away with giving an answer like this.
Jerry, are you considering trading Micah Parsons?
Well, let's put it like this. Surely you guys have been around this stuff and know to recognize negotiation talk, that type of thing. And so that's where I put that.
So are you considering it?
I'm not. The facts are that that's like anything else. I think the world of Micah, and that's just a part of negotiation.
Would you ever consider trading Micah?
Again, I don't really place that with any real seriousness. Micah's got a bad back. That's like being traded.
Did the request take you by
surprise? Y'all weigh it the same.
Jerry.
So I guess my point is, something's not right there. The fan base would say, is that guy okay? It's just bizarre. It's bizarre. Maybe the Micah thing works out. Maybe they're looking 3 or 4 steps ahead. But when you look at what they have on paper right now, you didn't get better this year. I go back to the same question. Are you going to get a Micah Parsons from one of those picks, Or are you going to get a Micah Parsons with both of those picks combined? Something even close to it. I don't think you're it's hard to say. You might. That's just, to me, the best defender in football. And by the way, a guy that's pretty coachable too, a likable guy. Silly. Yeah, again, this will, and eventually, when you'll get the real report on this is right before week 4 or during week 4 of the NFL season, when the Packers go to Dallas. That's when somebody will roll out the actual story on what happened here. Until then, hey, I'm happy for the Packers. I just think that makes that division, the NFC North, just is there a more interesting division in all of sport or in all of football? I don't think there is. That's must-watch football. That is, let me buy the NFL League Pass to watch those teams. So, all right. I think we're going to get ready to wrap up in a little bit. What's up, Patrick? Thanks for making it. Again, good question. You really made me think. Maybe my answer sounded like Jerry's answer, but control. I think winning is as important as control. Could take it a step further. Winning can only happen when I'm in control. I mean, I could sit here and make an argument to you. It's somebody behind the scenes might be making to Vivek, right? I really could. Hey, you got rid of Mike Brown. Look at what happened. 3 other teams fired their head coaches late in the season, playoff teams, and they hired the interim. You were right on point with that, boss. Right on point. Hey, boss, you got Zach LaVine. He played an entire season. Did not get hurt for the most part. You got a point guard now. You're going to get a training camp. You can tie Zach LaVine right to the De'Aaron Fox deal. And by the way, you can tie Nick Clifford to the De'Aaron Fox deal. Good job. Good job. It can go both ways. It just depends. And that's, you know what? Now that I'm continuing to just lament on this, it goes back to what Grant says all the time. It's about the people you are surrounded by. What's the constant between both owners? They're surrounded by their family. Normally, it's great to be surrounded by your family. We all want to be surrounded by our families. But professional sports aren't usually family businesses. I'm sure I could point to many businesses that went sideways, family businesses that were pizzerias, that were donut shops. Oh, I have a confession, by the way.
Order in the court.
You will be really proud of me. I made it to Krispy Kreme because I was hosting a swimming party. I got the kids 6, like the little boxes, the 6-packs of Krispy Kreme donuts, hot and fresh, as their like parting gift as they're walking away from the swim party. How many did you think I got for myself? How many do you think I ate? If I was at Krispy Kreme, do you think I was able to resist the urge? Do you think I got through it? Did I break into the kids' boxes? Did I just give them empty Krispy Kreme boxes? What do you think happened? Dorian, it's you have family surrounding you. You have you got to have the right people around you, and that goes for everything in life. And Grant has talked about, even from his time around the team of Vivek, he's surrounded by so many different people. You had Sam Amick's report. Well, I don't want to make this about Vivek, 'cause it's not, but there's that similarity. Jerry Jones, daughter, son, they're all involved in the business. So there's your commonality. That is the biggest commonality that you can pull from there. One thing, as you guys think about and try to set the over under of donuts eaten at Krispy Kreme, that I wanted to hit before we got out, and hopefully, did I not put up the picture? I may not have put up the picture. That's okay. I'm going to download it and I'm going to put it up anyways. I want to get to this because I think it transcends the actual thing or the event that it was held in and what that is. But this whole situation that happened with Raja Jackson and the professional wrestler, I did not know what to say when I saw that. Did any of you catch that? So Raja Jackson, who is the son of Rampage Jackson of the UFC, he's got to be a UFC Hall of Famer by now, a legend in the UFC. He was invited to an independent wrestling event. So an independent promotion that's actually ran by Rikishi. And backstage, one of the wrestlers did not know that Raja was not a wrestler, and he crunched a beer can on the side of his head. And this has been a story that's just it's just kept growing and going around curves and U-turning, because when you first saw the footage, you thought, is that guy alive? Raja comes into the ring as he was still supposed to. Remember, he was supposed to come in the ring and give this guy some type of slam. When you see the slam that he ended up giving him, it was far beyond and completely knocked him out cold, far beyond anything that is considered safe. And Raja is an aspiring UFC fighter. So he's training MMA, etc. Rampage Jackson, for what it's worth, did an interview years before this, maybe not years, but before this incident, and said, I'm putting aside money for 2 of my sons to go to college. And then my third son, Raja, I'm putting aside bail money for him because I know he's going to end up in jail. Not making it up. You can go find the audio of it. He said it during an interview. So this wrestler is knocked out completely cold. And I'm talking about cold where Big John McCarthy or Herb Dean would have already been restraining the fighter, not getting another punch off. This guy, Raja, just starts raining down elbows and punches to somebody knocked out. It's a video you don't want to see. Just completely disgusting. The wrestler Stuart Smith, who wrestles by Psycho Stu, had to be hospitalized. At one point, some of the wrestlers thought that he was dead. The wrestlers pulled Raja off of him and had to basically pin him in a corner. And you're thinking, man, this kid just flew off the handle. And then there's this video that starts rolling out, right? And it's a wrestler backstage saying, hey, man, you got to get your receipt for what happened backstage. You can give him his receipt, which is, you can, give him a stiff punch. That's what that would mean in the wrestling world. But what you have is 2 different worlds that don't speak the same language. in wrestling and MMA. And unfortunately, with Raja, somebody that doesn't have or did not appear to have complete control of their temper. And this video surfaces of that, and then another video of him, Raja, getting a call from the promoter saying, yeah, you can punch him for real, but not laying out like, yeah, you can punch him once for real. You can't hear the full side of the other conversation, but it's a bizarre event. It's being a scary event. The wrestler's lucky to be alive. It's being investigated by the LAPD now. Don't be surprised if a lot of lawsuits and such and criminal charges come out of it. So it completely took over the internet this last weekend. Yeah, it was really hard to watch. Yeah, I had, you know what was so weird, Justin? I rarely check my DMs on X because most of the time, they're Dennis. I rarely check them. And for whatever reason, I went to my DMs and it was the first thing I saw when I had woken up in the morning, and it just threw my entire day off. It just screwed it up. Peter says LAPD can't solve crimes. Can LAPD not solve crimes, or can the prosecutors not prosecute crimes? Are you mixing those two up, my man? We've got a lot going. This will be the last time you'll hear from me live on the channel. Grant will be back tonight. Don't forget Fox Sports Radio. Grant's back Tuesday, beginning 3 p.m., 3 to 6 o'clock, Monday through Friday, so the day after Labor Day, September 2nd. We're talking NFL. We're talking Kings. It's going to be a special show. Got some guests lined up. Make sure you don't miss that show. One way you can ensure that, download the Fox Sports Sacramento app. Put KSAC into any of the app stores, whether it is Apple or Google Play. Free to download. You can get that. And also, if you are outside of the Sacramento area, we will be pointing you soon to TuneIn Radio. Download that app. And if you are a Tesla driver, we understand that you don't have AM radio. So make sure you get the app. I've already got the app downloaded on my phone. In fact, the app is on my home screen. Can you believe that? The app made the home screen. There it is. KSAC app right there for you. So be like me, download it, and be ready for Tuesday. We are super excited. It has been a lot of preparation. Grant is back in town. Has been back for a couple of days. He'll be with you tonight, 7 o'clock, to talk about the Micah Parsons trade and talk to you about his experiences so far since being back. I do have to share this. We were at lunch, which he tweeted out. Justin, surprisingly, I didn't have any. I swear I did not have one. But you know how Krispy Kreme gets you? I'm thinking, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to only get 6 of them, right? Because I don't want it. I feel like I'm giving the kids drugs. Like, am I passing along a good thing or a bad thing to them? So maybe I'll just give them each a donut. And so that's what I decided on. I'm going to get 6 donuts. They've got the small little box. And you get to the window and the lady goes, well, 6 donuts is $14.21. Do you want to get 12 for $19? What are you going to do? So they each got their own boxes. So there's no reason for me to get another one. But yeah. Anyways, have TuneIn Plus for yours. Great, Patrick. Awesome. KSAC will be added there very, very soon. So it might be there actually right now, Patrick. If you go check on TuneIn, it will be there before the 2nd. We'll get that up. Peter says, nope. I listen to the LAPD commissioner weekly. Interesting. Peter, you are super informed, dude. You know a little bit about everything all the time. I love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, right. Send him home on a shirt. You know what was funny though? The parents were as excited as the kids were. I kind of had to explain to them. The kids didn't really know. They knew they were donuts, but they didn't know that like it was the king of donuts. And it was just the regular ones. It was just the regular ones. We didn't do anything crazy. But anyways, if you want to find Grant, in fact, you want to find him right now. You know what? I know his schedule. He is at Bennett's right now. He's at one of the 3 locations here in the greater Sacramento area, Rockland, Roseville, and Fair Oaks. I got to share this story with you. We had a wonderful lunch with our audio engineer, Mike DeSilva, station manager, Kurt Bagelman, and Grant and I. And the food, better than ever. They had the mushroom soup. We told the table, you've got to get the mushroom soup. And had a beautiful, go check out my X page. You'll be able to see it. An incredible shrimp cocktail. The best shrimp cocktail I have ever had, actually. Oh my gosh, to die for. It comes out in a martini glass, 4 giant shrimp from Mexico. Horseradish in the middle of the cocktail sauce. They don't mess around, but go check them out. Bennett'sRestaurants.com, 3 locations, prime cuts of seafood and steak, and a deal every single day, whether it's happy hour, wine and dine Mondays, prime rib on the weekends, weekend brunch. You are getting way more bang for your buck than you get anywhere else. So big thanks to them. As we were leaving Bennett's, the table that was sitting by us, the girl, or the woman, shouldn't say a girl, the woman had noticed earlier on that it was Grant. And as soon as, and she was polite, waited for us to finish eating. And as soon as we started walking by, she stops Grant and she's like, oh, and she goes into how her father has loved Grant for so long and he lives in Carmel now. And she was texting him the entire time, I can't believe that he's sitting right across from me. And she goes, could I call my dad so you could say hi? And it was really cool. Grant called him. He lives in Carmel, so Grant's like, can you get me a tea time? Carmel, that usually means Pebble Beach. But no, just a really cool interaction to see the community so excited to have him back. Being at Bennett's too. Awesome stuff. So go show them some love and make sure you show Grant some love tonight. Redfish, yes indeed. Show him some love tonight at 7:00. Do you think if you told Jerry Jones the Cowboys would win a Super Bowl, but he'd have to step away for 5 years, he would? No. It's funny that you say that, BJ. BJ, that's an incredible job by you. It really is. Because that same thing, somebody, I believe it was Bobby Marks. It was Bobby Marks on a podcast that said he was talking to some sources when it comes to what was happening in Sacramento. And he asked the source if Vivek could be assured that the Kings would be a playoff contender. Oh, let me step that down. So my accuracy, I want to undershoot that rather than overshoot it. That the Kings would be in the playoffs 2 years from now if he stepped away from the team and had no contact with the team. Would he be willing to accept that and go with it? And the source said absolutely not. BJ, I think Jerry Jones is in the exact same boat. That is you put it perfectly. That's what I was trying to get at before with the whole control aspect. So, and again, not trying to make it about Vivek. It's about Jerry Jones, but my goodness. Green Bay, congratulations. I wish I spent more time talking about what that does for Green Bay. I'm so excited for them. So anyways, Grant, back 7 o'clock. Jaron the Chalk Sniffer. What is that going to be, a new cartoon or something? We are back tonight, 7 o'clock. Grant be talking the trade and much more, getting you ready for what's coming up on Tuesday. College football this weekend as well. Other things going on in sports. Dennis, I don't think you were here today, but do us a favor, man. Don't hit us with the Westbrook tonight. Please do me a favor. Grant's having a solid day. I want to keep it that way. But for everybody else, thanks for being here. This will be our live episode for the week. We'll do another one next week. Make sure that you're subscribed to Spotify and Apple. I will get up another podcast this week, probably tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll release another podcast. But until then, Grant, tonight, big thanks to Bennett. We'll see you at 7 o'clock. I'll be tuning in with Grant live here from beautiful Sacramento. Go Kings. Light the beam. Catch you later. Court's dismissed.
Order in the court.